Profitunity magic bullets that can kill any trend. The magic bullets that can kill any trend. So we're looking for 5 magic bullets that will help us identify when the end of a trend is. The first magic bullet that we look for is divergence, right? So we're looking to see if there's divergence between the AO and the price on the chart. So if you're not familiar with divergence, we're looking first of all for the tallest peak on our AO in the trend. At that point, we go up, we find our price here, and then the next higher price comes up with a lower peak, right? So from here to here, and from here to here, creates a single divergence in the market. Used to be most markets turned on a single divergence, but today we're seeing at least 2, and many of them have multiple divergences if we're talking about the indices, for example. But here, if we continue on this chart, we get another peak, but the price is not higher, so that doesn't count. The next peak comes in here, but our price is higher. So we have a divergence from here to here to here, right? Or otherwise, let's do it this way. We have a divergence there, and we have a divergence there. So between these points and these points create a divergence in the market. So that's our first magic bullet that we're looking for. The second magic bullet that we're looking for used to be target area, right? So we would go in from our wave 1 and we would do a Fibonacci target area looking for the end of the trend. But quite frankly, we have found that with all of these extended markets, the target areas are not as good. What I have found to replace that is our bullish or bearish divergent bar. So again, if you're familiar with our signals, you'll know that that's one of our counter trend trades, and we have it circled here on the top. It's also marked on this chart with a red circle because it's a sell signal. So you will see a few of those here. The one in the circled area is the one that we're talking about right now. So what we're looking for is a reverse trend signal, right? So this is a bearish divergent bar. So that is our number 2 bullet that we're looking for, and it is present in this chart. And by the way, this is Bitcoin. I know a lot of people are very interested, so I thought I would pick a chart that would catch everyone's eye. Okay, bullet number 3 is the fractal present in the direction of the trend, right? So here on this chart, we've got some fractals. The fractals are marked by this green triangle for a fractal buy, and this would be a sell fractal here with this red triangle. So on this chart, we have some buy signals, of course, going up with the market and a few sells. But what we're interested in is the one here on the top that's within the circle here. So we have a fractal present in the direction of the trend. We also have a sell fractal present here below. So this sell fractal might be a place you enter depending on where it is and how you trade. But the up fractal right here in the direction of the trend is the one that we're most interested in. So we need to have divergence. We need to have our bullish or bearish divergent bar, and we need to have a fractal. Those are the first 3 magic bullets. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, the squat bar present. So squat bars are going to be characterized on the chart by being blue. So if you're wondering about the price bars and what the colors are, you notice the AO is either green or red. If the AO is green, the price bar is green. If the AO is red, the price bar is red, with the exception of the blue bars, right? So these blue bars are our squat bars, and those are labeled blue and overlay the color of the AO. So on this chart, you can see we have several of those. Again, we're interested in what's in the circled area. We have a squat bar, a bearish divergent bar, and a fractal, right? So this particular signal here has 3 different tools pointing at it. So that does make it quite strong. And we also know that 80 to 85% of the time we will have that squat bar. So if you look here, there was one at the bottom 3, top 3, bottom, top, that was the bar, was here, and was here. So you can see that there are many different squat bars, and they are present at least 80 to 85% of the time, even if it's just a small change, right? Anytime you have a change in direction, that's what we're talking about. So if it's not the bottom bar, if it's the one next to it on either side, that does count. So on this particular chart, we've got our squat bar, we have our divergence, we have our bearish divergent bar, right? We have our fractal. So all we have is 1 magic bullet left. And the fifth magic bullet is the change in momentum on the AO. So we've talked about the AO. We know if the AO is going up, green, we have an increase in momentum. If it goes down below, above the zero line, we have a decrease in momentum. So here at the very end, we can see that on this bar, the blue bar right here, follow that down, that was the first bar that changed momentum, and the market follows. So it's gone below zero, and it's met the fifth requirement. So all of the requirements that we need have been met, and the market did in turn change direction. So here's an example on the intraday chart of the micro S&P. This is a 2-minute chart, and showing here how 4 of the magic bullets present also can change the trend. So in this example, if we look, we don't have divergence. That's what we're missing here. The reason we don't is that we cannot break this chart down to a small enough time frame to see the divergence within this wave. So this is a 2-minute chart. I would need to go down to probably a 10-second chart to be able to see that. So I can't. So I want you to see that there's a peak here on the AO. There's a squat bar next to the bullish divergent bar, and there's a fractal. Okay, so we have a peak on the AO, we have a squat bar, we have a bullish divergent signal, right? So here's our bullish divergent signal, and the squat bar and the fractal cell, and then the change in momentum, right? So right here is our change in momentum, and then the market changes directions and heads up. So you can see this works in both upwards and downwards markets. Sometimes 4 of the magic bullets are enough. Again, if we could break this interior wave down and see the subwave, we would be able to see the divergence inside that wave. Here's another example of the magic bullets. This is a downward trend on an intraday chart in gold. And we can see here, again, we're looking for a peak and some divergence. So between this point and this point, right here and here, we have divergence. We also have a BDB, right? So there's your bullish divergent bar, right? So we've got divergence here, bullish divergent bar. We also have a squat bar here on the bottom, and we also have a fractal, right? So we have met all the conditions. We are looking first for divergence in price in AO. Second, we look for a wise man bullish divergent bar. We have several here. The next thing we look for is a fractal. We have a fractal sell and a fractal buy. We have a squat bar, right? And we have finally a change in momentum, right? So here's that change in momentum, and we see that this next move goes right up, right? So we're going straight up. So from this point to this point, we've got our divergence, right? From here to here. We've got our signal, we've got our change. So all of the factors that we look for before a change of trend, the magic bullets are here present on this chart, and they did indeed kill this trend. So let's just do a quick review. When you have the 5 magic bullets, this can be a sign of the end of the current trend or the start of a correction or change in trend. 80 to 85% of the time, there will be a wise man bullish or bearish divergent bar at the end of the trend. This can be used as a signal to reverse in the market or simply exit if you were in the trend. The squat bars are also present 80 to 85% of the time at the end of every trend, and you will see more in corrections because no one's in control. Many times the squat bar will be a wise man fractal signal and a wise man signal. So you can have 2 signals on the same bar. The change in momentum is the last thing we will see before the new direction of the market starts. So remember, momentum will be the last thing that you see to change. When all of these tools are present, it is likely to see a change in the market soon. The exception to this rule is when you have an extended market. It is hard to predict an end when you have such patterns in play. So many of the markets, a lot of the indices specifically, have been in very extended markets. So we are seeing multiple divergences, not just a single or a double. But again, keep that in mind when you're looking at the chart. And any tools that we can find to help identify where we are in the markets at the end of a trend can be our friend. So if you want any more information, please feel free to contact our office, traders@profitunity.com. We hope that we can be helpful to you, and may all that you wish for be the least that you receive.